and really share her amazing journey. I'm so proud of her. So, as you're joining, as always, say hello in the comments. Like, hello, Anil. Super excited to see you here. So, hello, Zoe. How are you doing?
Hi, Eugene. I'm doing great and happy to be here.
Yeah, me too. So, uh, le- uh, for people who well, like you shared with me, but for people who may not know, so you just landed a lead mobile engineer role, right?
That's correct. I've been an iOS engineer for several years, and I've worked at great startups, really helping them scale. And currently, I'm working as a mobile engineer lead and diving a bit into Flutter, really kind of switching gears from iOS to Flutter.
That's exciting. When you shared with me that you work with Flutter, I got a little jealous because Flutter is something that I was curious about and always wanted to try it out. Like it's kind of similar, like in my opinion, from what I've seen so far, and kind of similar to Swift UI, don't you think?
Yeah, I would say in some ways you could make the parallel between Swift UI and Flutter. I do have to say, as an iOS engineer for several years, the syntax takes some getting used to with Flutter, but I think I'm starting to slowly understand it and appreciate the language as well. So we'll keep you posted on my journey.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, like, I think this is kind of what I explain to recruiters when they ask me or when my clients ask, well, I was offered a job at like with the like React Native or whatever. And my thing is, like, once you know the fundamentals with one platform, you can adapt to like Flutter or Android or React Native because once you know the foundation, like the learning curve is not going to be as huge. You just like it's kind of like a learning a different spoken language when you speak the same like similar language in the same family. So it's just like, oh, they just use different words or different like syntax or different like they phrase things differently. The same thing with the programming languages, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's what I've noticed with Flutter as well. As I'm going through it, I'm able to like map certain concepts onto like the foundational knowledge I already have, whether it's like, oh, you have like dictionaries and you have arrays and you have ways of building UI which are similar as well. One might call it like columns and rows, other might call it maybe like a table view, but essentially like it's similar concepts and the learning curve is much more efficient compared to the first time you learn coding.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Zoph, how did you learn about career legacy? So you're my client. We've been working since what since the summer, uh, and but how did you discover me? How did you learn about career legacy?
Yeah, so Um, I was really looking for iOS developers and coaches in the community who could, guide developers, whether it's just like focusing on the technical knowledge or soft skills and help you reach your potential. And I came across your page and started following you. And I think your content was like somewhat niche in the sense it was focusing on iOS parts of it. So I think that's what really appealed to me.
Nice, nice. What is interesting, this is kind of what I'm also telling other software developers. You have to niche down. Like you have to know your specialty. It doesn't have to be your framework, right? Like it doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm only iOS or I'm only Android. But you have to have your niche, like mobile development, for example, like in your example. The same thing goes with the business, right? Even though I wasn't necessarily say, hey, how to land a job or how to be a leader as an iOS developer because of my experience, because of my clientele, because of my past connections. Like it spoke for itself. And I think once you are a specialist, and I think going in 2024, this is kind of where we're going to see a shift in market too. Like people are going to look for specialists versus generalists, and it's a big topic. Like whether as an engineer, like I have to point this out, as an engineer, whether you want to be a generalist or specialist, like that, and thank you for pointing this out. So, can you kind of walk us through where were you before you joined Career Legacy, and what made you to make a commitment and actually enroll in the program?
Um, I think prior to joining Career Legacy, I had been searching for a job, but there was a point where I wasn't receiving much outreach from recruiters, whether it's through email or LinkedIn. And I came to a realization it's like partly due to things I could control. For example, it's like whether it's like my hard skills, my soft skills, executive presence, and the other side was things I couldn't control. The market, for example, layoffs and hiring freezes. So I was experimenting with different strategies to just try to land an interview, which would ultimately turn into, job offers. And I think, Eugene's focus, as I mentioned, on iOS was partly what drew me to the program, and as well as understanding how I can make myself more marketable as a candidate. Things like, building executive presence, as well as getting more practice with mock interviews. And this ultimately made me want to commit understanding the value of the program.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and this is kind of what you and I went through. A lot of software developers, because of our background in tech, because of our background in breaking into tech, when we can't land an offer, we automatically think that it is because of our technical skills. But you absolutely 100% right. Sometimes it is not your technical skills. Sometimes you might get a feedback that your technical skills are actually really good, but for some odd reason you are not able to connect with the interviewer on the human level. And um, and also a lot of developers that I know, and like in person, right, like they're great people in person, they have great personalities, but sometimes it's really hard to show your personality and show that you're curious and show that you're excited during the interview. And this is where coaching comes in, where you practice, where you model, and also having not just practice, but having recordings available to you so you can actually go back and watch and model and like kind of really embody that new concept, how to be marketable during the interview process, even though you're nervous, even though like you are in a high stress environment. Like this is absolutely huge. And at the end of the day, people hire you, not necessarily your technical skills, even though technical skills are important, right? If you don't know how to do mobile development, you wouldn't be able to land a lead uh, engineer role, like regardless, no matter what your personality is. It's like tech is, well, it is possible in tech to land um, a job based on your personality for like at certain companies, but majority of the time it's a combination of both, like like 100%. So you went through like entire program, and by the way, I'm so excited and honored that you witnessed how my program transformed, because Becky, Jennifer, and you, we all started working like on one-on-one basis, and then like y'all all have like aftercare, so 12 weeks curriculum and 12 in 3 months aftercare. So but right now it's like group coaching program. It's for 6 months because like I really combine everything together. But what was your experience in the program itself, like going through the curriculum, going through the fundamentals? Like what was your experience like inside of the program?
I think for me, like the program could really be tailored to your needs. So, of course, there's like a curriculum for the program, things like LinkedIn optimization, content creation, resume review, and even like offer negotiation. But um, I think for me, it was like Eugene really cares and tries to meet you where you're at in your career journey and offers you support based on that. So I think I really tried to express my needs for a specific session, whether it was like code review for a take home project, or if I happen to get feedback from an interview, I discuss that with him and try to improve for next time. And Eugene was in constant communication to ensure that I feel supported for a specific need. And I think the best part was he's walked in your shoes, being both ends of the interviewing table. So he'll offer you advice from that perspective. And I'd say, he's been like the biggest cheerleader and supporter. And I think I just thought of this, but just having like a friendly chat GPT mentor in your pocket, but with like more of that human element and empathy.
Yeah, thank you. Also, because in my corporate experience, I was a part of well, three hiring teams, right? And now in my coaching programs, I am telling you what I'm not, well, by HR rules, we're not able to tell my candidates when they fail the interviews. So when we do mock interviews, I provide you feedback. Hey, like, yeah, I've seen that a lot, and this is probably not gonna land that well. And also kind of help you, like, even like before, like how to connect before the interview, how to connect after interview, right? Because not many people are aware how you can actually pre-sell yourself before going into interview. And it doesn't even apply only to interviews, right? Even when you are, for example, targeting senior leadership roles, right? Even within your organization, like the same thing. You apply what we call in the business world social selling. You start building relationships before the event occurs because people gonna notice that, and this is something that I use in my career. And um, after the interview, right? A lot of developers, a lot of candidates, they're like they think once they're done with the interview, like they're done. But there's a little bit piece of after the interview that you have to do that you have to follow up, and you have to follow up correctly. And um, uh, certain techniques that we discussed, right? How to address your interviewers, how to follow up, right? Because like um, in this job market, right? And like people say that tech job market right now is really tough, and it is, but actually it is not new to me because I came from behavioral health and counseling, and this is like typical job market for a lot of professionals. Like you have to network, you have to put your effort. So that's absolutely right. Speaking of challenges, can you walk us through what challenges did you have during your job search? Like you kind of mentioned the recruiters, like you were, it was really hard to land even screening with the recruiter. But once you got in the program, we increased your discoverability and visibility points. So more recruiters reaching out to you. You have a pipeline of interviews. What challenges did you have, like once you increase your visibility, once you increase your point of discovery?
Sure. I guess that was one of the challenges that you already mentioned. And I think the other part of it is given the market, there's higher competition than usual over just one position. And even if you do like well enough in a technical screening, that's not enough for you to progress or land the role. So I think the other side of things was I was like mainly focusing on my technical skills and brushing them up for the interviews. And but I also needed to reflect on the behavioral interview and how to really connect with the interviewer and just like make myself stand out as a candidate. So uh, that was another, I guess, blind spot, you could say.
Yeah, absolutely. And people don't realize that every technical interview is also a behavioral interview, because unless you flat fail your technical questions, you might fail your technical interview because your answers are right, but they're kind of dry or they're not confident enough. You don't create that visual inside of your for your interviewer. Oh, like she's going to be a great candidate to work with, right? People answer questions, and I remember when I interviewed software developers, they're saying the right words, but it doesn't communicate that they really know what they're talking about, even though the answer is in the right direction, or if the answer is correct. It's either like the lack of confidence or overly confident too. Like I remember I interviewed people who, like, they answer question brilliantly, but it was from the standpoint, I'm better than anyone else and everybody else better listen. And that's also off-putting. But like, where do you find that silver lining between being confident and being a team player, and also connect on a human level with your interviewer? So you kind of pointed out like certain things that we did together and how it helped you to overcome certain challenges. But can you walk us through kind of one more time how career legacy exactly help you to overcome those challenges that you faced?
Um, I think part of it was, optimizing my LinkedIn or, my resume as well to catch the eyes of the recruiters, and basically, highlighting the importance of posting content and connecting with the community was the other important piece. And I think as far as connecting with interviewers on a human level goes, that's something we worked on quite a bit. And we worked on things like the art of storytelling, even mindset shift, stepping into my most confident self, and um, focusing on human connection for those behavioral interviews. And I think the other thing was just thinking about certain like technical buzzwords and positioning your conversation based on the interviewer, the company, and the context is also key for that. And lastly, technical skills, anything from like rapid fire iOS questions to specific live interview challenges or code reviews. It just, helps you get more data points and really think about how you can improve your approach.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We do review. Like, so sometimes people would give me an objection that, oh, I'm looking for something more technical, right? But I would argue that like we do technical preparation as well, right? Like take home, especially if you are an iOS developer, that's apps like this. This is the perfect program for you, because we do take home assignment reviews, we do coding challenges, like kind of technical screening, and actually Theo and I we did like a coding challenge literally in live, and I shared that post yesterday, right? Because um again, like how do you tackle this like instead of jumping into a solution, how do you convey your leadership, your knowledge, your testing approach and stuff like that? Those are a lot of like small details, small components that go into interview, and so many software developers are so overwhelmed by fear that, like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to solve it. But when you start a conversation and when you ask enough questions and have enough answers, you might have actually a solution like right there and then. So my next question for you, because it is like y'all, it is a paid program and it is an investment. And once in a while, I get an objection like for the price, and people might say, "Oh, the program is like too expensive," which like I don't think it is, because like I when I'm looking at the market, even not just tech career coaching market, like in coaching industry as well, I personally don't think it is too expensive. I think it's quite reasonable. But what would you tell people who think that price is an issue or it is like expensive?
Um, I'd say you need to think of it in terms of ROI, return on investment. And for someone trying to break into tech, perhaps coming from other professions or being a student, it might be considered pricey. But um, I think it, like, in terms of like what it provides for you, whether it's like the guidance, support, mentorship from a coach and a seasoned developer in the industry, makes it all worth it. And it's an investment in leveling up your skills and investing into your future, which pays for itself many times over. So I'll say, maybe book a mini session and find out whether it's a good fit for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I think, like, you absolutely right. Like, return on investment is huge. Return on investment is basically your career. It's basically you have a proven system how to position yourself. And finding another job is not like this is not a long-term goal, but really ability to navigate your career, because like right now you can take the same approach, and let's say you want to become a lead web developer, right? Like you decide to switch specialty. So you know exactly what to do. Like you need to create content, position your LinkedIn, position your resume, and start networking, expanding your network, start doing daily activities. And you have the say, like you know the reps and you can use that. And the same thing if you want to go into even more leadership position, right? Like again, you're shifting and you start marketing yourself from the leadership standpoint, and like the discovery model too. Like you start posting like your content, your posts or your videos around leadership, around like professional growth and stuff like that, and people will hear you. Like, and that is absolutely correct. But on top of ROI, return on investment, there's also the cost of inaction. Because when it comes to your personal and professional development, no matter if you decide to invest in yourself or not, you always pay the price. And unfortunately, mm, for certain software developers, especially in this market, the cost of inaction, it can also be your career. Because I've seen it on LinkedIn when software developers, they would try and try and try again, and they wouldn't go anywhere, and they would have to land a survival job, which is absolutely fine. But my fear for so many developers who had to take that route, and my heart absolutely goes out to them, is what is your destination? Like, because I was talking to I was talking to one of my clients, and like literally on our mini coaching session, I said, "Hey, I don't want you to lose your career because you are an amazing engineer, and it would be a huge loss for you and for tech if if you won't be able to go back. And also, even if you are able to land like a next job, it's about your positioning in your career, because also like another cost of an action as a burnout because you don't know where you're going, and at some point all of your moves are just lateral moves, and like there's no progression. And where there's no progression, you you start to you you start to digress, right? You start to um, regress in your career. Even as a professional, you're not as passionate anymore. You like you don't care as much, and it's also a common factor. So, like return on investment. Absolutely, it's your career, it's your personal development, it's your professional development, and cost of inaction. And the cost of inaction can actually cost you more because if you calculate all of those like promotions, opportunities, the time that you spend outside of tech on the survival job versus having a tech job, it will always cost you more than a program. So like that's kind of my 2 cents to that. Um, so also, based on your experience, who would you recommend this program for?
Um, I think I'd recommend it to anyone from maybe like a newbie trying to break into the tech industry to a more seasoned developer and anyone in between. And the reason being, I think we all have our blind spots and it's hard to uncover them on our own. And having that outside perspective with, working with someone with industry experience, both tech expertise and just that coaching experience really helps you zero in on those blind spots and tackle them head on. So, when you're going into whether it's your job search journey or, you're eyeing that promotion or any other situation, you feel more confident. And more specifically, just it's been such a joy working with Eugene, and I think he provides the perfect balance between like having that human element as well as technical expertise to support you during your journey and no matter where you are.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Because this is like when I position my program, I usually, and this is like, I think trips up a lot of people. I say, I'm looking for mid level to senior, but what I'm really saying, like, you need to see yourself positioning yourself as a mid level engineer, even though you are a newbie. How do you, because like my first tech job was mid level QA engineer. And if I were to position myself back then as a junior, and if like more importantly, if I put aspiring QA engineer, aspiring anything, I would have been still in search for my first like tech job, to be honest, because like yes, you might be newer to tech. Yes, you might like your ideal position might be that junior entry level position, but sometimes companies do a trick. They say, "Oh, we need a mid-level engineer," but what they don't say that like at this point, like if that software developer can solve the problem and they kind of know what they're talking about, we're gonna hire them. And there is a way like for newbies, right, for people who like maybe transitioning into iOS development from different specialty, which like if you have experience in software development or in tech, there's absolutely no way, no reason for you to go back to junior develop. You're not a junior developer, you know what you're talking about. You just like you Zof, you just operating in a different language. But like there is a way to market your experience and build your experience to demonstrate it beyond your portfolio, and just your app in the app store. And even with your app in the app store, you can position that app in a way that it is like indeed like demonstrating like demonstrating work experience. Also, Another part of my program is what it's personally what I'm super proud of is my community because slowly but surely we have more like software developers, we have more iOS developers, more professionals. How do you like the community inside of the program?
I think the community has been wonderful, and it was starting to grow more so towards the end of my program. But in my experience, everyone's super friendly and encouraging. Um, and uh, I think sometimes when you're uh, pursuing certain things or you're in the midst of your career journey, it can feel tough and lonely. And it's been amazing to have mentors and supporters who are rooting for you to succeed and encourage you despite of any rejections or road bumps. And this is really the kind of resilience you need to and support to keep going when it gets tough. And the community is really there to support that journey.
Yeah, yeah. I and uh, you know, I'm absolutely honored and happy that you saw my business and my program grow from like where we started. Like then we have membership site. Now everything is documented. Now my current clients, I don't have to send them links for like Zoom recording so they can download. So I mean, on the one hand, you have the entire curriculum to yourself. So like no matter like when you finish with aftercare and beyond, like you have those videos. So you basically have your own curriculum, but also yeah, like that growth. And I when I interview people, right, and this is why I always ask people, hey, talk to me like in the DMs or let's set up a mini coaching session or clarity call because my community matters to me, absolutely matters to me. And I I had instances where I had to say no to people because any money ain't good money. It, when it's the right fit, when it's the right person, when it's the right client. So because like I I don't want any disruption inside of the community because like this is like what you all have is like really that support, that like cheering for each other, that sharing your success, celebrating your success. So like that's absolutely wonderful. So any thoughts or any like what advice rather would you have for our viewers?
Yeah, so I think this is something I learned the hard way. And I heard this quote the other day that really resonated with me, but it's like, don't wait until you're thirsty to dig a well. And I think it's by a Chinese philosopher, Zhu Xi, I believe. And if I've learned anything in this market, it's the job market is unpredictable and you never know what will happen. So that's why it's important to dig a well before you're thirsty. And with the help of this program, you can, you know, equip yourself with the right skills, whether it's like soft or hard, and, um, have that executive presence, mentorship, and build that network. And really, your mindset and resilience is what will ultimately get you through the tough times, even if you're not seeing immediate results. And I highly recommend this program to do just that.
And by the way, if you are thirsty or not, the well is open to you. And this is the link for my program if you want to like complete the app, fill out the application. And after the application, we will set up our clarity call and see if it is the right fit for you. You can also send me a DM and just say, hey, like just send me the word program and I can just walk you through the entire process. Um, Also we have a new addition, right? Like before our clarity call, I sometimes send a career assessment so people can see their career gaps, right? what is missing, whether it is on technical side, whether it is like with executive presence in leadership, so people can do that. So the link is in the comments, also in my bio. You can also send me a message. So there are a number of ways like to access that well. And you absolutely right, this like you even if you have a job, especially if you have a job, but you realize that you need to develop your leadership skills. You need to develop your executive presence. You need to be that industry expert, because this is what will drive your promotion. This is what will drive your influence. And this is what will get you through the tough time. Because if I didn't have my work that I've been working since 2017, like showing up as a leader, showing up and talking about my craft, I wouldn't be able to run my business. And it's kind of different topic for another live stream, but like your legacy, this is why it is career legacy. When you have your career legacy, you can turn it into promotion, you can turn it into your own business, which I do have a business client right now too. Like we work one-on-one. So like a little different offer, but if you're interested, like you can ask me about it too. But to land here, right? Like for me to go from corporate, getting laid off, and running my business successfully, uh, that was the work, that was the foundational work that was required. And this is what I want to pass along other software engineers. So you don't have to be caught off guard when you get laid off, or when you are dissatisfied and you realize that you need to get out, or if you've been working for same company for over like 10 years, or like even like 8 years, maybe it's time for you to reassess your situation, position yourself as a leader, and start seeing other opportunities. Because over those the 8, 10, 12 years that you've been in the same company, you might have missed out on so many wonderful opportunities, new learning opportunities, and stuff like that. So, and let me ask you in the chat as we're wrapping up. Do you have any questions for me or for Zoph? Please drop your questions in the chat, like whether it is about program, about job market, whatever it can be. By the way, I appreciate all of y'all comments. Like amazing live stream. Thank you for your support. Thank you for celebrating my client. Absolutely amazing. But yeah, like so it was it is such an honor, and I really thank you for your trust in me, and really your hard work. Because when it comes to coaching, it's really two-way street. Is like it's a coach and it's a coachee. Because if you don't work the framework, it's not working. But when you work with the coach, when you putting the hard work in, then it's working for you. And it was such an honor to serve you, like truly.
Thank you. It was such an honor and a great learning experience for me to be a part of this program. And I hope to continue to stay in touch with the community. Um,
Yeah. And you know, I started on LinkedIn community connect chat. So where and I'm thinking, how do I take it further? Like, do I create private group, or do I just add people to the chat? But like I always like I when you enroll in my program, right? You get access to private Slack community. I connect you with my community, with other members, so you can network, connect, and support each other. You get access to the curriculum. So those are video lessons that you have to complete, and you have to go through. And we have coaching call in, as a matter of fact, we have a coaching call in 20 minutes. So like right after the live stream, I'm probably gonna sip like a little bit of water and jump into my coaching call with my clients. So it's on Thursdays from 4 to 5. And also, like as Zoe said, if you need a mock interview, you can utilize coaching calls for mock interviews. You can schedule one-on-one call with me. So, and you have plenty of resources, from like take home review, like, because this is where your blind spots, right? Like take home assignment. Even like for me personally, when I do my take home projects, I'm not gonna lie, like I don't pass every single take home project, and I wish I had another software developer in my pocket or in my network that I can send over my take home and say, hey, can you look over my code, because I reviewed it twice. I think my code is perfect. I'm just kidding. Like the code is never perfect, but like I this is why we don't test our own code. This is why we ask somebody else, either in QA or another software developers, to review your code. So, and this is the opportunity for you to actually do that. So, and Cody, so like I have my, like, sometimes StreamYard is a little weird. So it says like a user, but like I'm looking at my phone as Cody. So thank you, Cody, for your participation. Yeah, like thank you everybody for hanging out with us. Like I said, the link for the program is in the comments. So you need to do just fill out the form, submit the form. I will get in touch with you as soon as I can, and we'll schedule one-on-one call, and we will go from there. It's absolutely worth your career, worth your investment and your commitment to yourself.